Hello, Jim Howard here in Fort Worth, Texas. It is December 7th, 2014. I'm going to make this fast, try to make it fast and try not to get sidetracked and rambling and talking about other things. I just received an email from change .org, is it? Is that it? Yeah, change.org. The parents of Michael J. Brown Jr. Want a law to be named after him. Uh, President Obama is calling for Congress to pass a law and spend $263 million to purchase body cameras for police officers and to provide training for police officers. And the parents of Michael J. Brown Jr. want that law to be called the Michael Brown Jr. law. I don't think that should happen. Now, if the federal government wants to spend $263 million to buy cameras for police departments and for police officers, to wear, and if the federal government wants to provide money for training, I don't have a problem with that. But I do have a problem with it being called the Michael Brown Jr. law. We have a law like Megan's Law, where a little girl was abducted and murdered, and a law was passed and steps were taken, and the law is named after her. But I don't believe we should name this law the Michael Brown Jr. law. I don't think we should have a Son of Sam law or a Jack the Ripper law. Either let's just name it, the law to assist states to purchase, or something else, but not. I feel sorry for the parents of Michael Brown, but he committed a strong arm robbery. A very few minutes later, a police officer attempted to stop him. He assaulted the police officer. He attempted to grab the police officer's gun. And tragic results, of course, happened because of that. I just don't think that he deserves to have a law named after him. Now, about this $263 million, there again, we weren't supposed to call ourselves reserve officers, but that's basically what we were. I was a reserve officer with a very small police department in Missouri, smaller than the Ferguson Police Department, and the department was poor because they had to rely on citizens like myself. They had one full-time chief of police who was paid almost nothing, and then when I started there were 7 of us, and each of us patrolled one night a week. The department had difficulty, with supplying cars. They were just poor. They didn't have enough money. So I can understand helping departments like that. Now, with this $263 million, there again, if the federal government wastes tons of money, and this money that they do spend, every time they spend money, it goes into the pocket of gigantic corporations who don't want to pay their employees a decent living wage, and people yell and scream about welfare. The amount of welfare that goes to poor people in the United States is extremely small compared to the amount of corporate welfare that goes to major corporations. Uh, these wars that we have, tons of money going to corporations that supply, Humvees and military equipment and nuclear submarines and aircraft carriers and all this type of stuff. That's corporate welfare. And the amount that goes to these corporations is astronomical. The government can't even keep track of it. So if the federal government wants to spend some money to try to help the situation, I don't have a problem with that. But having said that, I think there's other things that could be done. I think the federal government could say no more military. Of course, I don't think military equipment should be given from the federal government to city, county, and state police departments, with some exception. I don't have trucks, a few, but the type of equipment being given, let's just say, well, let's put a stop to that. I don't have a problem with putting a stop to that. Let the federal government sell that military equipment for scrap, and then take the money that they got for scrap or for salvage and put that money into a fund that will pretty quickly amount up to $263 million. Or if you're going to keep giving military equipment to police departments, just say, okay, zero equipment is going to you until, let's say, the first year, till 33% of your officers are equipped with body cameras. Third year, you won't get any military equipment unless 50% of your officers are equipped with body cams. After 5 years, you don't get any military equipment unless 100% of your officers are equipped with, let's try to be inventive, and let's try to have some type of consequences, some type of give and take. The other side having to do something. I remember in the old days, I'm not sure if it's still around or not, the Law Enforcement Assistance Agency or whatever. The federal government gave tons of money to local police and state, police departments. When I was going to community college, I was paying for my law enforcement training, and I was the only one in the class that was paying. All the other people were having money supplied to them by the Law Enforcement Assistance Administration. The other people couldn't actually believe that I was paying for my, law enforcement classes, because they were all getting them for free. There was even federal protective officers there. In one class I had, there was like 5 of them, and of course they were working for the federal government as federal protective officers, which were security for federal buildings. And their training was, their college classes were being paid. Now, like I said, I was an officer with a very small police department, and eventually the department did grow enough where a dispatcher was hired. So then when I was out by myself for my night patrol every night, and for years I never missed a day, somebody had to be out there. Eventually after we got a dispatcher, when we eventually got one officer, and then gradually things, and then a Walmart moved into the city, and with the sales tax from the Walmart, the city had enough money. They have a nice police department now, and equipment and all types of stuff. But during the time that I was patrolling for them one night a week, and later being a detective. Well, I was on detective a very short period of time, but uh, during the time, someplace during that time, like I said, that our department had very little money. The state of Missouri, remember Ferguson is Missouri, in Missouri, the state passed a rule or law or something that the city, the county, or whatever, when a police officer wrote a ticket and when it went to court and when the court costs were assessed, a couple of dollars on that ticket would go to the police department to be used for, I'm not sure how it exactly spelled out, whether it was just for training or whether the department could decide, in what areas this amount of money. Like I said, we were a very small department, but that money, when it started coming in, that added up to a lot of money. Do the same thing here. Have the states pass a thing where every ticket issued, $2, make it $1, make it $2, make it, if you want to be, make it $5, and then a cutoff date once X amount of money is raised or something for each ticket that goes to court where the person is found guilty. He'll pay a fine and he'll pay the court cost, and $1, $2, $3, $4, $5 or whatever will be added, and that will go to buy body cameras and for a training to help prevent the type of situations we've been seeing recently. So that's my 2 cents on the subject. I've gone on longer than I wanted to on but I want to add a little bit more. What people don't realize is, these officers at the end of the day are not going to drive back to headquarters and take their camera and dump it into a VHS tape recorder and copy the video. They're not going to copy it even onto, let's update it a little bit. They're not going to copy it onto a DVD. It's going to be a very sophisticated system with a lot of rules, laws, regulations, or whatever. That data is going to have to be secure. The officer can't mess with it. The police sergeant at headquarters can't mess with it. Internal affairs can't mess with it. The chief of police can't mess with it. And it's going to have to be stored. All that's going to cost a lot of money. It's going to cost a lot of money, and it's going to be good for data companies. It's going to be good for storage companies that store data online. There's going to be a lot. It's going to be good for software people who write the software. So there's a lot more to this than just, the way it appears. But something definitely needs to be, done. I don't want to get into it here now, but if somebody's interested, if several of you are interested, I can tell you how you can cut out 80% of these unnecessary shootings and killings and things that happen very easily. But for right now, the discussion was on the body cameras and on the fact that I object to this law being called the Michael Brown Jr. law. That's my 2 cents on this subject. Thanks for watching.